Your one last kick. This is gonna be it. This is the moment. Vicario kicks this. And Liverpool are there. Liverpool are Premier League champions. And there it comes. Crystal Palace, for the very first time in their history, are FA Cup winners. Oh, he's found the net. Oh, what a goal! Kvaratskhelia is through, wants to add a fourth, and does so. Ahmad, oh my goodness me! That is absolutely unbelievable! Rice again. Oh! You thought he couldn't beat the first one. He's gone and bettered it. Another whip ball in, the header is in! By Virgil van Dijk! Incredible! Good evening, welcome to the second game of the Champions League this evening here in LFS. Our first game ended Galatasaray 1, Liverpool 0 in the early kickoff, but 3 games kicking off at 8 o'clock, and our feature game is at St James's Park as Newcastle United face Barcelona in this ground for the second time this season in the Champions League. In the first game it was 2-1 Barca. A Marcus Rashford brace was enough to give the Catalonian side the victory. Tonight, a raucous atmosphere returns to St James's Park, but this time in the knockout stages of the Champions League. In the first leg of the round of 16, a very new feeling, but a familiar noise inside this historic ground. And a night that Newcastle fans want to remember for a long, long time, if they can give themselves an advantage to take to Spain next week to face Barcelona in the Nou Camp in the second leg. Along those games, the kick-off at 8 o'clock, Atalanta host Bayern Munich in Bergamo, and Spurs head to Madrid to face Atletico at the Wanda Metropolitano. The first time they've been back there since they were beaten in the Champions League final in 2019. Very different times for Spurs now. 3 games to kick off at 8 o'clock. But let's get to our feature game. Newcastle against Barcelona at St James's Park. And look at the sights of the fans inside St James's Park. They're ready for this. They've been dreaming of this. And dreams really do come true in the Champions League. Let's have a look at the two teams then for this one. Starting with the home side, Newcastle. Aaron Ramsdale is in goal. Back 4 of Kieran Trippier, Malik Chow, Dan Burn and Lewis Hall. Tonali and Joe Linton are in midfield with Jacob Ramsey a little further forward. Harvey Barnes on the left, Elanga off the left, and Willa Sula leads the Newcastle line tonight. Man who got the winner against Man United 5 days ago. On the bench for Newcastle, Ruddy, Pope, Harris, Botman, Livramento, Alex Murphy, Willock, Visa, Gordon, Voltemada, Neve and Jacob Murphy are the men on the Geordie bench. Of course, still without Bruno Guimaraes, their captain. For Hansi Flick's side, well, Barcelona come into this one on a 4-game winning streak, and they're hoping they can continue that tonight. Juan Garcia is in goal. A back 4 of Cancelo, Araujo, Kubasi and Gerard Martin in defence. Bernal and Pedri are in midfield with Fermin Lopez in the 10. Lamine Yamal on the right, Rafinha on the left, and Robert Lewandowski leads the Barca line. On the bench for the visitors, Szczesny, Koshin, Eric Garcia, Cortez, Espart, Gavi, Rashford, of course, Casado, Olmo, Marquez, Torres, and Badagji. It is a repeat of a classic game at St James's Park in the Champions League this season. Barca edged out Newcastle 2-1 here back in September. Anthony Gordon getting that late Newcastle consolation after Marcus Rashford with a brace. He's on the bench tonight. Actually, they're both on the bench tonight, the scorers that night. But this one, a much bigger occasion. The knockout stages of the Champions League for Newcastle United. They thrashed their way through the knockout playoffs against Karabag. They made easy work of them. But this, a much tougher task against one of Europe's elites in Barcelona. Kick-off at St James's Park between Newcastle and Barcelona is next. A very good evening. Welcome to Champions League Live this evening for our second game of the night in what is a busy midweek for Champions League football in the round of 16. And we've 3 games to really keep you up to date with in the late window of the Champions League action. And none bigger than, of course, here at St James's Park, where Newcastle United look to try and do what they couldn't do against Barca back in September. And that is take victory and take a lead, they're hoping this time, back to Spain and try and complete the job over 180 minutes. This is a raucous place for any team to come and play football. And they're underway then at St James's Park. Newcastle, of course, in black and white in their home strip. And Barcelona in their away strip this evening of that kind of pale pinkish colour with navy trimmings. And of course a goalless first half between these two in the game earlier this season meant it was a cagey affair in the first half, but far from that in the second, and the game opened up. A Barcelona team who were a little bit nervy coming into the game against Newcastle back in September. A Barcelona side that were in very different position than they are now under Hansi Flick. A tough start to the campaign for Barca. They've strode on in the Champions League since that point, and in the league as well, leading the way in La Liga. As I said, they had a difficult start. They won on match day 1 here, but only won 1 of their next 4 Champions League games. That was home against Olympiacos, but went on to win their last 3 league phase matches, Barca. Ultimately, to finish in a strong position in the top 8. Finishing 5th and finding themselves in a position of real strength. Here's a ball whipped in by Newcastle. Anthony Alanga and cleared behind for the corner. That was the cross got past Cancelo, whipped in by Alanga and cleared away by Gerard Martin, who swept it behind for the Newcastle United corner. Underway as well in Bergamo between Atalanta and Bayern. They're a little delayed in Madrid, so that game's not got underway yet, but we'll let you know when it has. Corner delivered in, deep, back post. Oh, gotta see it. Just got his hands to that to clear it away. So here is Lamine Yamal. First action, well shielded by Joe Linton. The poor ball by Tonali dispossessing Newcastle. A little bit sloppy there from Barca. Underplaying their passes. Thiaw, Ramsey. Ramsey breaking away in midfield. Jacob Ramsey gets into the box. Can he shoot? He tried to cross it, blocked. And another corner will come. 2.5 minutes and Newcastle have charged their way towards the Barca defence on a couple of occasions, and a couple of corners to boot as well. Perfect start for the home side. Another set piece for Barca to defend. Left-footed delivery from the right by Hall. Plucked away, but Tonali tried to head it towards goal. Oh, and Joan Garcia was lucky there that he had a defender behind him to clear it, but skipped away from his hands from Tonali's header. Yeah, Tonali with a header, and it just scooped through the hands of Joan Garcia. Saved by his defence there. I think of Pau Kubasi with the clearance. Well, less than confident start there from the Barca goalkeeper. Underway, by the way, in Madrid, so they're all underway. There are 3 8 o'clock kickoffs. An electric start here from Newcastle at St James's Park. Lewis Hall takes the throw. It's deep. Flicked on. Ultimately away from goal, and Tonali's through ball is directed back to Joan Garcia. Wants to get rid of it quickly up the fields. Lewandowski trying to use his quality, but Ramsey's there to nick it away. Alanga back to Kieran Trippier. Ramsey, oh, a little short. And Barca again unable to take full control of this. They're a little bit all over the place early doors here, Barcelona, not able to take the ball down and play a few passes. So that's a bit excited from Ramsdale. Slightly ahead of Hall, but Barca get the throw. Well, Eddie Howe, of course. Newcastle haven't had the season domestically as they would have wanted, but when it comes to the Champions League, you can't fault them at all. That's nicely played back by Lamine Yamal to his goalkeeper, Joan Garcia. Long ball up the middle. Bit of a battle there, Rafinha trying to bring it down, but again, unable to take control of the ball, Barca further up the field. Locked out completely by Newcastle. Malik Chow switching to Hall on the left. Nice work to skip inside Lewis Hall and get away from his man. And now they're running behind. It's Will Osula breaking away for Newcastle. Away from Barca defender. Still Osula. The hit, the shot was deflected behind for the corner. Well, Osula, as I said, who scored the winner here at St James's Park against Manchester United in their last game in the league. It was 6 days ago, and then the defeat to Manchester City 3 days ago. It's been a quick turnaround for Newcastle. They don't look like they've been affected by their busy schedule. Another corner. Tonali to take from the left-hand side. Right-footed delivery. It's deep. And right into the hands of Joan Garcia under no real duress. That's a long ball over the top by Barca, but even that doesn't quite work out for them. Overhit that time. Ooh, a little bit slippy there by Ramsey. Does well to wrestle it back though off Fermin Lopez. Hall. Down the left channel, a run here on from Harvey Barnes. Flag stayed down for now. Barnes breaks towards the box, cuts inside, one to shoot. Blocked, and then Tonali with a follow-up drags it well wide. And the flag was up anyway against Harvey Barnes. I mean, why they waited so long to flag it, I've never known. Even he was a good yard offside there, Harvey Barnes. It's Ronald Araujo, who was down that right hand side, and it was pretty easy to see that Offside was the call. Kubarsi. Martin swings it down the left channel. One for Lewandowski to chase, but Barcelona benefiting from an offside. Now they're victims of the offside flag. Free kick to Newcastle. Yeah, oh well. It's tight, that. Hamburn gets a little lucky, but flag goes up against Robert Lewandowski. Not many have seen more than him when it comes to the Champions League. One of the most experienced in this competition, Robert Lewandowski, 37 years old. Polish centre forward. Played for all the big clubs: Dortmund, Bayern, Barca. Scored 14 goals this season, Robert Lewandowski. 11 in La Liga, 2 in the Champions League, and 1 in the Supercopa de España. As Joelinton wanted a foul, they're not going to be given one. We have our first goal of the night in the round of 16 games in the late window, and it has come in Madrid, where Atletico Madrid have taken the lead against Spurs. So Spurs, following the trend of the English sides at the moment not doing well, Liverpool losing earlier, and Atletico Madrid taking the lead at home against Spurs. Marcus Llorente with the goal. And Atleti are 1 to the good. More turmoil for Spurs in what is a torrid season turning out to be for them. Tonali takes that free kick short. Trippier trying to swing it round the right side, and Alanga did well to get something to that, to play it back across goal. And Joan Garcia, in the end, comes on the end of it after the second try. He did really well here, Alanga. First time, measures it well across goal. Lovely cross. And Barcelona are flapping. Very, very nervy looking here, Barcelona. Very uncomfortable in possession. Newcastle run the first 10 minutes of this game. That's a nice ball to Hall. Did Barnes time his run right that time? No, he didn't. Offside. And of course, if you know anything about Barcelona, they do still play that high line, that offside trap. And on that occasion, he's definitely not off. Left back there, João Cancelo played him on, but definitely wasn't offside there, Harvey Barnes. It's going to be a free kick as Pedri was brought down by Jacob Ramsey. Yeah, not seen much of Barca so far in terms of in possession. There's been a lot of Newcastle play early in this game. Here is Martin going for the switch ball to find Lamine Yamal down the right. Yamal with a lovely first touch, and Hall given a real task, but Lewis Hall does fabulously well there, and then is brought down himself quite cynically by Fermin Lopez. That's going to be a free kick to Newcastle. But I have to say, the ball from Gerard Martin to Lamine Yamal was perfect. The touch was perfect, but Lewis Hall did really, really well to stop the youngster. And I mean, Fermin Lopez wrestling Lewis Hall. Throws him to the ground. Definitely a foul. Byrne, nice direct ball to find Ramsey. Cuts it back to Tonali, who feeds it over the top. Nice idea, but on the end, Tonali's ball just a little overhit towards Alanga. Another goal to tell you about. It's come in Bergamo, the first goal there of the evening, and Bayern Munich have taken the lead against Atalanta. Josip Stanisic has given Bayern the lead there. Here come Barca. Rafinha, first attack really for Barca of the game. Rafinha's shot blocked by the first man, Kieran Trippier. They recycle it well, Barca. First real spell where they've had some possession high up the field. Araujo. Cubarsí finds Pedri. Lays it out to the left-hand side. Cancelo. Back to Pedri. Martin to Cubarsí. Comfortable with the ball, Barca. Not really breaking too many lines as Lamine Yamal does well there. Nice link up with Fermin. Yamal finds Lewandowski. Now Rafinha. Rafinha trying to chip it back across. Yamal didn't quite measure it right. He will take it down though. And Yamal gets inside Hall and needs a little help. And Lewis Hall has that help in Joe Linton, who deals with Lamine Yamal, and Joe Linton clears. Yeah, nicely done by Newcastle there. Barcelona were threatening. Newcastle had it under control. Nice touch there by Osula. Brought down. Referee says play advantage as Barnes goes through to Alanga. Little heavy. And Barca can clear, but Osula was brought down by Cubarsí. They've both stayed down. You're feeling the pain of that one. And well played by the referee to say play on. Plays the advantage, and yeah, Sula just taken out there by Paul Cubarsí. Referee Marco Guida from Italy. He's the official. All Italian officiating team. Daniele Cifi, the VAR. Newcastle have a corner here on the left-hand side. Just short of 15 minutes gone here at St James's Park, and it really has been the home side using their advantage well. Tonali, right-footed delivery from the corner, up and away. And Martin, and then followed up by Rafinha. Trippier winning the first header there on that bouncing ball as it drops. And the ball pinged in behind. Yamal and Rafinha on the chase here. It's 2v2. Rafinha's got all the space in the world. He's got Yamal in the middle. Rafinha! Cross was well blocked. Hit the first man again. Newcastle positioned really well there. Blocked that opportunity. They were caught out a little bit there from that long clearance. It turned into a really nice ball for Barca, but couldn't make anything of it. Here's Osula. To Trippier. Now back to Tonali. Oh, and they're in behind here. Anthony Alanga's got the break of his man, and good save by Joan Garcia. And the flag's up anyway. Good save by Joan Garcia. He didn't know he was offside. Couldn't be sure, of course, but Alanga. Oh, well, that's another tight one. Don't think that's offside. It's very close. And Garcia makes the save, and VAR had it got involved there. I don't know, maybe that could have been overturned, but big save by the Barca goalkeeper. Flag went up in any case, but Anthony Alanga looking a threat in behind already for Newcastle, as Barnes did on the opposite side. But the offside trap of Barca winning out at the moment. That was nice from Pedri. Lamine Yamal. Pedri. Barca came so close to getting to the Champions League final last season. Knocked out by Inter Milan in what was a mental semi-final. I'm sure they want to go one step further this season, Barcelona. Wouldn't argue against them, albeit they haven't been tippity top this season in Europe, but as we saw last season, PSG weren't tippity top until they really needed to be. They really showed themselves off against some of Europe's best in the knockout stages. That's nice play by Yamal, nice little jink. Plays it out to the far side. Rafinha, well beaten by Trippier. Kieran Trippier does well. Another goal in Madrid. And Spurs' night is going from bad to worse early doors. They're 2-0 down after just 14 minutes in Madrid. Atletico Madrid 2, Tottenham Hotspur 0. And Christian Romero might be back for Spurs, but at the minute it is making absolutely no difference. Antoine Griezmann with the second. Araujo. Oh, cheap giveaway there. Fermin with the slip. Hall under a bit of pressure. Double team there. Lewis Hall, no real help as he had to drag back Yamal that time. That's going to be a free kick. Oh my goodness me. What is happening in Madrid? Spurs are getting absolutely pumped. I think it's 3-0. And what on earth are Tottenham Hotspur up to? Oh my goodness me. That is dreadful. The goalkeeper gifting Julian Alvarez not a goal. It's 3-0 to Atleti. And Spurs, I mean, before tonight we knew they would be in trouble, but I didn't think they'd be in this much trouble after 15 minutes. Atleti 3, Tottenham Hotspur 0. This tie could be done tonight. Never mind next week. Atleti 3, Tottenham Hotspur 0. The tie might already be done. Llorente, Griezmann and Alvarez, the 3 scorers for Atletico Madrid. Crazy. Tottenham Hotspur. What on earth? What on earth? It's Kinski that's in goal for Atleti. Or for Spurs, sorry, against Atleti. And he made an absolute meal of that one to set up the third goal. Gifting Atleti a third. Mental. Just mental. That's nice from Barca down the left. João Cancelo breaking forward. It's Trippier. Cross comes in. Oh! Dan Burn. Aaron Ramsdale was terrified that was going to sneak in his net. And Dan Burn poked it just wide of his own left or right post. My goodness. Whoa. Dan Burn. Oh, he knows he's lucky. That one went skipping just wide. By the way, Spurs are making a substitute. Their goalkeepers are being swapped. Kinski's off and Vicario's on, and Kinski is furious. Goodness me, it's all happening there in Madrid. Back here to St James's Park, 20.5 minutes gone. Newcastle 0, Barca 0. Barcelona with the corner. Their first of the game. Footed delivery deep, too deep. Ronald Araujo was the one closest, but even too high for him. And that was pretty anticlimactic in the end. Rafinha with the delivery. Just carried it too high. As I said, 4 wins in a row for Barca. 3 in La Liga. 1 in the Copa del Rey against Atletico Madrid, albeit a losing finish after they were 4-0 down from the first leg, won 3-0 in the second. It wasn't enough to complete the comeback there, Barca in Copa del Rey. One thing for Barcelona, they don't draw many games. They haven't drawn a game since November, where they drew 3-3 with Club Brugge in the Champions League. They've either won or lost their games since, and they've only had a total of 4 losses since that draw with Club Brugge back in early November. Chelsea away, Real Sociedad away, and then more recently Atletico Madrid away and Girona at home or away. All their home games have been wins. Here come Barca here. Cut back to Fermin, was well shielded. Picked up by Rafinha, though. Will whip it deep. Burn with the header. Picked up by Lamine Yamal. Edge of the box. Yamal trying to work himself into a space. Gets to the byline. Cuts it across. It's the side netting. Although deflection on the way through, says the referee. Corner it will be. Yeah, Lamine Yamal does really well here. Uses the fullback for a bit of extra cover and advantage. And ultimately does it all on his own. Does really well. There's no deflection there. Oh, it does actually. Aaron Ramsdale with the save. Puts it behind for the corner. Rafinha to deliver again. Goes short this time. Fermin. Oh, Yamal, and they're caught out here. Barcelona. Ramsey's slightly on his own there, and the covering was good. And Osula couldn't carry it through with him, cleared away by Barca. But again, they made a meal of that corner once again. Yeah, both corners weren't great from Barca. Another goal to tell you about in Bergamo. And the other two ties are really not turning into much competitive football at the minute. Atletico Madrid 3-0 up against Tottenham, and Bayern Munich now 2-0 up away at Atalanta. Michael Elise with the second for Bayern. It is Atalanta 0, Bayern Munich 2. Newcastle against Barca still goalless here at St James's Park. And the winner of this tie, by the way, plays Atletico Madrid or Spurs in the quarterfinals. So direct interest from these two teams that we're watching this evening on that game in Madrid at the minute. Atleti are running the show. Lewandowski wins a free kick here for Barca off Dan Burn. 24 minutes gone. Remains goalless. Newcastle slightly the better side, but Barca have maybe had a little bit better of it in the last few minutes. And every time I look round to my left in that other game between Atletico Madrid and Spurs, Spurs are Atleti are flying forward consistently. Spurs all over the place, time and time again. They're playing a back five tonight, I think, Spurs. 3 centre-backs. Doesn't seemingly help them. And they've changed their goalkeeper. They're in free fall. And Tottenham. Bernal. Under pressure. Lays it back to Joan Garcia. Now Pau Kubarsi. Flicking it over the top. Headed away by Malik Chow. Lewandowski comes a bit deeper. Nicely skipped away was Fermin. Now finds Rafinha. Lewandowski had to stretch back for it and just couldn't take control. Now Lewis Hall bricks away. Ronald Araujo does really well. Stops it. Oh my goodness, there's another goal. It's 4-0 to Atletico Madrid. And Spurs, forget about trying to save anything in this tie. They're out. Yeah, well, you got to say that. They're out. No doubt about it. This tie's done already. But it's now Spurs. Don't make it an embarrassing scoreline. 4-0. And social media will be going absolutely nuts. And another part, 4 different scorers for Atletico Madrid. Roman Lenormand with the goal that time, the centre-back. So Llorente, Griezmann, Alvarez and Lenormand, the 4 scorers. Atleti 4, Spurs 0. That's a ball into the box. Ramsey. Alanga. Alanga flicks it into the area. Osula! Off targets. Well, it looks like Newcastle are flying that English flag tonight because the other 2 English teams are pretty much underperforming, to say the very least. Newcastle really more than holding their own against Barca, probably dominating the visitors to this point. They've been the better side in the final third. Newcastle just haven't been able to find the finish as of yet. That was a good header by Will Osula, just a little high. Continually looked a threat though in this first half, Newcastle. Barca have really not laid a glove on Newcastle's defence too much. And Ronald Araujo there, feeling the pressure of Harvey Barnes, and that one goes straight out of play for a Newcastle throw-in. Well, Hansi Flick's team have come under a bit of real early pressure and not been able to apply any of their own as of yet. And they just need to hang on in there at the minute, Barcelona. Actually, the throw-in's going to go the way of the visitors. There's another goal in Bergamo. So I've continually that theme of the other two ties going very one way. Atleti thumping Spurs 4-0, and Bayern Munich now 3 to the good away at Atalanta. It is Serge Gnabry with the third. So Gnabry and Elise both now with a goal and an assist for Bayern Munich. Stanisic with the other goal for Bayern Munich. It is 3-0. Or 0-3 there in Bergamo. As it stands right now, Newcastle are the team in the ascendancy against Barca, but still the scoreline remains level. And at that rate, anything can still happen. Albeit Newcastle have faced Barcelona 5 times before in Europe, all of which have come in the Champions League. Their only victory came in the first meeting between the sides. It was a 3-2 home win in the group stages in September 1997, and Barca have won each of the following 4 meetings between the sides in the Champions League, including each of the last 2 away from home. Ronald Araujo with the throw-in. Nice little 1-2 between him and Pedri. Araujo trying to ping a switch ball. Rafinha was the target. A little too narrow, that one. Too close to Aaron Ramsdale. He takes firm grip of it on the edge of his own box. Well, another goal in Madrid, and Spurs have maybe shown a bit of fight in the game against Atleti. Pedro Porro has given them a goal back. That's Atletico Madrid 4, Tottenham Hotspur 1. What a crazy tie. What a crazy game. 4-1. Mental. Absolutely mental. As we hit the half-hour mark here at St James's Park, still awaiting our opening goal of the game. Lamine Yamal doesn't let Joe Linton cut inside there. Malik Chow drifting forward, finding Lewis Hall, and down the left channel Barnes just couldn't keep it in play. Little heavy there from Hall towards Barnes, and Barca will benefit. Well, Barcelona have faced English opposition 33 times in the knockout stages of the Champions League. They've won 10 of the last 12 matches against them, English opposition, since 2014. We all remember one of those games. It was given away cheaply here. They want to foul Barca, but referee's actually given it. Only took a good couple of seconds to make that decision, the referee. I mean, Joe Linton was like 20 yards away from the challenge by the man that was down by the time the referee gave the free kick. It was Pedri that he felt was fouled. I mean, that's not a foul. Joe Linton wins the ball. Pedri goes down, but it's just a collision. It's not a foul at all. A little hard done by there, Joe Linton. Pedri a little bit GCSE drama there. The referee fell for it. Yeah, Barca have been riding their luck a little bit early in this game. It's not been there physically, really. Newcastle have just dominated them in that aspect, and in turn that's turned into a real dominant performance for Newcastle. Harvey Barnes, poor ball over the top. Long kick by Joan Garcia. Again, they've looked really disjointed, Barcelona, between the lines so far, and it's that midfield. Pedri and Bernal have just been outrun by Joe Linton and Tonali, really. Here's Anthony Elanga down the right flank. Lost possession of the ball on the edge of the box, but regained it quickly. Ramsey, Trippier, Tonali. Now into Elanga. Bricks into the half space inside, and the shot ultimately deflects into the arms of Joan Garcia in the Barca goal. Yeah, beautiful little strike by Elanga. He's been a real tricky customer for Barcelona to try and deal with so far, Anthony Elanga. Kubasi. Rafinha gets involved in the middle to try and help Barca forward and wins a free kick in doing so. And that's going to see a yellow card for Sandro Tonali, which I think's a little harsh. I have to say, the UEFA officials, don't know if they're on commission tonight for giving out yellow cards, but a lot of them seem a little soft. I mean, that's not a yellow card. It's a foul, but a yellow card's a little harsh. Tonali in the book, though. Disagreeing with the referee Marco Guida, but falling on deaf ears. Yellow card's been given. Araujo. Oh, aided by a little bit of a deflection. But Newcastle have to scramble it away there with Byrne and Chow. Taken in by Joe Linton, finds Harvey Barnes on the left. Good quick play between the lines there from Newcastle. Hall. 11 minutes of this first half to go. And I'm sure Eddie Howe will be very pleased with what he's seen from his team to this point. Up until the finish, they've been by far the better team. Possession strong, physicality's been good. Not looked anywhere near dangerous up the other end of Barcelona. Sometimes to their own fault, but a lot of the time Newcastle just giving them no space whatsoever to try and operate. And as they come forward, they're finding opportunities. Elanga holding off his man well, wanted some help there. Wasn't given any. Here's Lamine Yamal. He needs a bit of help, but has to reverse it back to Bernal. Araujo. Kubasi. Gerard Martin. Kubasi to Araujo. Now Pedri. Given a bit of a tough task there by Tonali, but he did well to work out of that space. And now finds Lamine Yamal down the right. 3 in his way. Yamal still almost finds a way through as Lewis Hall's header clears it away from the target man there. Tonali picks up the loose ball after a couple of slips, but gives it away cheaply. And now Cancelo's breaking forward here for Barcelona. Into the box, this shot. Well charged down by Malik Chow. A bit of a weak shot from João Cancelo. Picked up by Rafinha. A little weak there from Newcastle. Strike is right down the throat of the goalkeeper by Fermin. Yeah, Kieran Trippier lost his balance there in a very dangerous area. And in the end, Cancelo takes it on, and Rafinha takes it on. Oh, he's hurt himself there, Kieran Trippier. You can see it right away. He kind of gets caught in the turf. You can see it here. He slips, and then he just gets caught in the turf as he tried to recover. And he's hurt his groin here, it looks like. And then the ball comes across Fermin Lopez with the shot. Ramsdale had it covered, but decent opportunity. More concern for Kieran Trippier. Of course, some options off the bench if Newcastle need to use them, if worse comes to worse. Tino Livramento would surely be in pole position to come off the bench here for Newcastle. Elsewhere, though, still remains 4-1 to Atletico Madrid against Spurs. Atleti cruised into a 4-goal lead and are still pushing for more at the Wanda Metropolitano. Spurs got that consolation, you have to say, through Pedro Porro. It's got them at least on the board. And in Bergamo, Bayern firing their way past Atalanta so far. 3 goals to the good there are the Germans. Oof. Kieran Trippier back to his feet on the sideline, but he Well, he did look like he pulled something there, but thankfully it looks he should be okay. And I think he will continue, will he? He will. Made of hard stuff, Kieran Trippier. Not going to lose him that easily. 35-year-old. Actually, his history, the two clubs that Newcastle could possibly face in the quarterfinals, Atletico Madrid and Spurs. And they're the two teams fighting out for a quarterfinal place against one of these two teams. Here comes Alanga. Down the right side, whips a ball across. Keeper missed it. And Asula was in the mix, but he just couldn't reach it. Great ball by Alanga. Keeper couldn't stop it. And Juan Garcia gets past him. Pau Kubarsi was there too, and Asula just couldn't stretch enough for it in the end. Barca a little bit kind of passive there, trying to deal with that. Juan Garcia, I don't know why, he pulls his hand back. Dangerous to do that for the Barca goalkeeper. Ultimately doesn't pay the price, but very easily could have. Oh, poor there from Lewandowski. Has to be bailed out, but then given away. Ramsey's cross. Cut out well. Rafinha. Now Yamal as Barca want to spring on the breakaway. Lots of work and lots of space to eat up if they want to get into the final third. And Lamine Yamal, a bit of a desperate pass. And as Hall gets in his way, and he says, no chance. And Lamine Yamal throws Lewis Hall out of the way. I think the crowd wanted a yellow card for that. Justified has been given. Now Eddie Howe, amongst a couple of the Newcastle bench there, protesting that it should be a yellow. I mean, yeah, I agree. I mean, it's cynical from Lamine Yamal. He knows he's got beaten. He just kind of barges the man down. Yellow card all day long, that. Not given, though. Oh, lovely first touch and a second. Evading players for fun there, Lewis Hall, as Ronald Araujo corners him into the sidelines. Newcastle throw. Last 5 minutes of the first half. Newcastle 0, Barcelona 0. Hansi Flick relaying some information to Lamine Yamal, the young winger. Not just him, but the majority of the Barca players have had a struggle so far in trying to get anywhere near threatening the Newcastle defence tonight. But very little in the final third of the visitors. And if I was Newcastle, I'd be a little bit concerned about the deja vu of the first game, as it was goalless after the first half, and Barca come out in that second half, and if you remember it, they come out with kind of the grip between their teeth and saying, we're not going to let this get away from us. They come out flying out in the second half, and Marcus Rashford with two really good goals to dig Barca out of real trouble. That was the game where Newcastle made 4 substitutes in one go. Oof. A little bit rough there. That's going to be a foul. Pedri seen off the ball by Ramsey, who thought it was a bit soft. I mean, I'm not a professional lip reader, but it was pretty obvious what Jacob Ramsey was trying to say there, and I think I would tend to agree, but he was pulling at Pedri, to be honest. The crowd aren't happy too much with the refereeing decisions so far. I feel they're being a little bit hard done by, and it's not being given much balance so far, because that Sandro Tonali yellow card, and Lamine Yamal not getting one for a similar situation, and then that foul on Pedri. And that booing and jeering from the initial Barca free kick, followed by a chorus of "You're not fit to referee" from the home crowd, making their voice very loud and clear. Yama, they flick one over the top. Byrne had to get a toe to it, he did, but it will deflect out for the corner. was under a bit of pressure there, Dan Burn, from, I don't know if it was Fermin behind him, but whoever it was in that peach Barca colours, he wins the side of corner. Their third corner of the game, Barca. What a snatch it would be if they could get something here late in this first half. Really rile the crowd up. Rafinha to take the corner. Both of the two previous he completely messed up. That one's another poor delivery. I mean, a hat-trick of really bad corners from Barcelona. I mean, all uniquely terrible. One was well overhit, the other one was a mess from the short corner, and the most recent one was completely underhit. No consistency whatsoever there, and well, there was consistently bad. Garcia finding a little gap to find Ronald Araujo. Here is Marc Bernal. Back to Pau Cubarsí. So just about keeping the possession there after a bit of pressure from Osula. Rafinha comes into midfield and makes a mess of the Barca possession, given away cheaply. Here's Alanga. Can he make advantage? Osula, Alanga went down. Referee said it was a fair challenge. No penalty was given. Here's Joe Linton. Now Barnes takes it to the left, cuts it across, off Araujo, behind for the corner. Well, we'll see if VAR agree. See here, Alanga. No, he kind of just trips over. It's not enough. Yeah, it's not a penalty. He just kind of loses his footing as he gets into the box there, Anthony Alanga. It's not a penalty. Corner it is, though, to Newcastle, right on the verge of 45 minutes. How long will be added on? The answer, 1 minute. Pretty clean, smooth first half, you got to say. Tonali, right-footed delivery. Cleared away at the front post by Rafinha. Another corner will come. It's been a difficult first half for Barcelona to deal with, but they'll take it a goalless scoreline at the break. They very much would take that. Another 30 seconds to go. Another Newcastle corner for Barca to try and defend. For Newcastle to try and attack. Sandro Tonali again to deliver. Right-footed. This time deep to the back post, and Joan Garcia had to punch, and he's going to get a free kick on top of that. Again, very soft. Very, very, very soft. I mean, that is just weak. Half-time whistle goes. I mean, Jesus. I mean, that's definitely not a foul. Half-time it is, and a goalless first half here at St James's Park. The other two games have really stole all the goals tonight. 3 in Bergamo, where Bayern Munich have scored all 3. They're 3-0 up against Atalanta. And 5 goals in Madrid. The first 4 were all scored by Atletico Madrid before Spurs got a late consolation. It is Atletico Madrid 4, Spurs 1 in that. But here at St James's Park, we await the first goal of the evening. And at half-time, it is Newcastle United 0, Barcelona 0. Sure, one last kick. This is gonna be it. This is the moment. Vicario kicks this. And Liverpool are there. Liverpool are Premier League champions. And there it comes. Crystal Palace, for the very first time in their history, are FA Cup winners. Oh, he's found the net. Oh, what a goal. Kvaratskhelia is through, wants to add a 4th, and does so. Ahmad, oh my goodness me. That is absolutely unbelievable. Rice again. Oh! You thought he couldn't beat the first one. He's gone and bettered it. Another whip ball in. The header is in by Virgil van Dijk. Incredible. Welcome back to Champions League Live. Second half between Newcastle and Barcelona, where it is goalless at the minute, is underway in about 6 minutes' time. Elsewhere tonight, lots of action around the grounds. From the early game, just the one goal between Galatasaray and Liverpool, and similar to the earlier meeting between those two sides this season, Galatasaray winning by 1-0 in that one. Mario Lemina with the only goal of the game, seeing Gala win by 1-0. In the late games, half-time in the game in Bergamo, Atalanta 0, Bayern Munich 3, making easy work of their Italian opponents tonight, Bayern Munich. Stanisic, Olise and Gnabry with the 3 goals inside 25 minutes to give Bayern the lead. Gnabry and Olise both getting an assist, so both on fire tonight, it seems, for Bayern Munich, who are cruising their way to the quarterfinals. Speaking of cruising their way to the quarterfinals, our Atletico already 1 foot into the last 8. 4-0 up they were against Spurs. Marcos Llorente, Antoine Griezmann and the howler from the goalkeeper for Julian Alvarez to make it 3. Just after that, by the way, they went 3-0 down Spurs. Vicario replaced Kinski, so a goalkeeping substitute for Spurs in that game. After 17 minutes, it didn't get any better though. Robin Lenormand added a 4th to Atleti's lead before Spurs got a little consolation of their own. Pedro Porro giving them a goal back. A crazy game there in Madrid, and Atleti surely very much on their way to a massive result against Spurs. And life really can't get any worse for Spurs, can it, at the moment? And a relegation battle in the league and in the Champions League that has been a little bit of a more positive part of their season. It's looking like that's turning sour as well. And here at half-time between Newcastle and Barcelona, it is goalless between the two sides, but a lot to really talk about. Newcastle, arguably the better team in that first half between these two. You got to say, Barcelona really struggling to get the ball down and really threatening Newcastle whatsoever in this first half, albeit they've both had 5 shots, but I don't remember very many of Barcelona's efforts. They're not really dangerous ones. And Newcastle looking more threatening, certainly in the wide areas. Anthony Alanga's looked a real threat, along with Harvey Barnes, but other than that, very little to separate them ultimately in this game. And I think it could be similar to the way the game went on match day 1 of the league phase between these two, and the fact that it could change on a knife edge in that sense. It could change in a split second. Newcastle probably been the better side in the first half, but haven't taken advantage of that control that they've had and kind of the lack of cohesion that Barcelona have really had in possession. And that is kind of where we stand at the minute, where the game could still swing in Barcelona's favour and they could still take a result back to Catalunya with them for next week. Newcastle, you kind of feel, do really need to take a lead back to Barcelona, because if it's level, Barca are going to feel clearly they will have the advantage. And certainly Newcastle can't afford to take a deficit to Spain with them next week. But we'll see. Big second half to come between Newcastle and Barcelona, where it is goalless, so no damage done to either team yet. Will there be any damage done in the second half? We'll find out. after all this tonight. 4 more games to come tomorrow in the Champions League, 2 of which we will be watching here in LFS. The early game as Bayer Leverkusen take on Arsenal, 5:45 kickoff from the Bayer Arena in Leverkusen. And then we watch the European champions, Paris Saint-Germain, host Chelsea tomorrow at 8 o'clock in one of the 3 games kicking off late tomorrow. See if the European champions can continue the defence of their trophy when they take on Chelsea tomorrow evening. Alongside that, though, 2 other great ties, Bodo Glimt against Sporting and Real Madrid against Manchester City is also tomorrow night, so lots to look forward to tomorrow. But still, big second half to come in all 3 of those 8 o'clock games. Bayern and Atleti seemingly taking firm grip of their respective ties, but it's all in the balance in the northeast of England as Newcastle and Barca are goalless. Second half on the way next. Your one last kick. This is gonna be it. This is the moment. Vicario kicks this. And Liverpool are there. Liverpool are Premier League champions. And there it comes. Crystal Palace, for the very first time in their history, are FA Cup winners. Oh, he's found the net. Oh, what a goal! Kvaratskhelia is through, wants to add a 4th, and does so. Ahmad, oh my goodness me! That is absolutely unbelievable! Rice again. Oh! You thought he couldn't beat the first one. He's gone and bettered it. Another whip ball in, the header is in! By Virgil van Dijk! Incredible! Welcome back to Champions League Live. Second half is just about to get underway at St James's Park. That was a quick turnaround. We're all but ready to go. Nothing done between the 2 sides ultimately in the first half. So a big second half surely to come between these 2 sides. What will we see? Very excited to find out what we will see. Will Barcelona be a lot better than they were in the first? Will they really give Newcastle a real test? Or will the home side continue in what has been a pretty positive game so far for them? They'll continue on their push to try and really take something out of this game to take back to take to Spain with them next week. That's nicely won back by Rafinha off Trippier, but he returns the favour and wins it back off Rafinha before the ball goes out for a Newcastle throw. And we also question, we spoke earlier, and when I read out the team news, I mentioned that both teams have strong upper options off the bench if they need to use them. Will that come into effect for this second period? Throw in here for Cancelo, kicked up the field by Barcelona as the ball bobbled down. Malik Chow holding his man there in Robert Lewandowski. That's going to be a Barcelona free kick. As I said, key players on the bench for both teams. Anthony Gordon is on the bench. Nick Voltham out of there too for Newcastle. Jacob Murphy, Johan Vesa, Joe Willock. Options plenty for Eddie Howe if he wants to make changes. And same on the other side, Marcus Rashford, Gavi, Torres, Olmo. Options off the bench as well for Hansi Flick. Will this game come down to the substitutes and who reacts better coming off the bench? Is that Want to change the dynamics of this game. And will the 2-11s that started it play better as Ronald Araujo broke away from his man. He's actually going to be penalised for a foul here. The Barca captain on foul on Lewis Hall. Yeah, just holds on to him a little too long there. Free kick for Newcastle. Taking the time. Long kick in towards the box, up and away by Gerard Martin and followed through by Gavi. Or by Pedri, sorry. Bounces around. Oh, a loose kick there, brought down by Joe Linton. Langa tried to reverse away, but well stopped by João Cancelo. Now Pedri down the left, runs out of room. That's going to be a Newcastle throw. That's going to be a foul. Mark Bernal shoving Alanga off the field. The assistant waved the flag and saying that's a foul. And a free kick to Newcastle will come. A lack of quality, I really think, from Barcelona tonight. Real lack of quality. Both in and out of possession. And that's a good free kick position for Newcastle. You've got aerial threat, Newcastle. Barca a little bit small, to be fair, considering their opponents. Trippier over this free kick then for Newcastle, right hand side. Got options in the middle, quite a few of them to target. Trippier's cross didn't meet the first man, and then Alanga swung at it on the rebound, well wide of the targets. Short goal kick taken by Joan Garcia. Cancelo plays it up to Pedri. Working up between the lines here, Barca. Nicely guided down the left-hand side to Rafinha. A little bit isolated. And plays a blind ball towards Trippier, but Barca want to pounce back on it, and they just get away with that, Newcastle. Chow works it for a Newcastle throw. Well, Newcastle have faced Spanish opposition in the Champions League on 6 occasions before. Won twice and lost the other 4 occasions. Both victories during that time have come at home. 3-2 against Barca in 1997 and a 2-0 win over Athletic Club in November last year. Trippier take the long throw. Oh, lets it bounce there, Gerard Martin, but he's helped out by the cover of Kubarsi. As Sula making a real nuisance of himself with that Barca backline. He's not been able to garner any rhythm tonight, the visitors. Further forward. And they've been picked off time and time again. Another occasion there, Lamine Yamal just nipped away off the ball. Just at the minute, seems like, oh, Tonali there. A little bit poor miscommunication. Throw in it will be to Barcelona, a little bit cheaply given by Newcastle. At the moment, it looks like Newcastle are quite happy with the game that's being given to them by Barcelona. It's lacking any sort of quality. Really struggling. And this is where you need your manager to kind of find the balance between making some changes and finding a way to persevere with it with the players on the field. It's, do you pull the trigger or not? And when do you pull that trigger? making substitutes. That's two men trying to wrestle one, and they've actually said it was a fair challenge, the referee there. Here's Pedri. It's again out-muscled, out-thought, and Fermin Lopez has to reverse it back. I think the most confident passes Barcelona have played have been back to their centre-backs tonight, because any forward pass they've tried has either been misplaced or completely cut away from them by Newcastle. Byrne. Back to Hall. Flicking it over the top, but be easy enough for Barca to retrieve with Pau Kubarsi. Juan Garcia plays it out to João Cancelo. I have to say, I don't think Barca are quite enjoying this either. They're really not enjoying having to play a lot of football with their defenders. The midfield being outrun, their attack being just out-muscled at the minute and beaten to everything by the Newcastle players. Making themselves a real gritty opponent tonight, Newcastle. This is the threat, though. This is where Newcastle have to be, because Barca are a team that possess so much quality that if you give them a sniff, they will run a mile with it and will run riot against you. So you have to be incredibly pertinent and concentrated 100% of the time. Give them a little glimmer, and Barcelona will shine. Fourth goal in Bergamo. Atalanta now 4 down. Nicholas Jackson adding a fourth to Bayern Munich's lead. And that tie is surely one step away from being over. Any more for Bayern Munich, and that should be done and dusted before the second leg even nears being close. Oh. That through ball, Lamine Yamal, well beaten to it by Aaron Ramsdale. As that's fired up the crowd. Hall with a bit of space down the left here, trying to measure one in behind. Osula's got in behind his man. Shot was well off target. Better though again from Newcastle. Lewis Hall done a lot of the positive things that Newcastle have done tonight. It's been through him. Well, Osula making a really nice run off the back of the two centre-backs in between them. Ahead of Martin and behind Kubarsi, who was not aware of his threat behind, and Osula ultimately, poor effort. Ball by Joan Garcia. Robert Lewandowski wants to try and lay it off to Rafinha, but header went zipping out for a throw-in pretty quickly. Byrne. Ramsdale. Malik Chow, down the right comes Trippier, flicks it in the midfield. Ramsey left it. Alanga, little 1-2 link up with Osula, and he's away, Anthony Alanga. He's got Barnes in the middle. Alanga too close to Joan Garcia. A little bit more backspin on that ball, and it would have been perfect for Harvey Barnes. Great again between Osula and Alanga. That lovely 1-2 link up, and Harvey Barnes was the main threat in behind for Alanga to find, and just couldn't find that cross. They've got the better of that offside trap for Barcelona, and when teams do that, Barcelona should be worried. wrestling there. It's going to be a free kick to Barcelona. Tonali a little bit too physical. You see this again, this great move. Elanga left it initially, Asula received it, and then Elanga continued his run. Played back to him, and then as he breaks down the right, leaving everybody in Barca College for dead. Just couldn't dig out that cross enough for Harvey Barnes. Another lovely ball in behind. Asula dragging Barca players out of position. Wide to the left is Asula. Plays it back to Hall. Now Barnes. Barnes on the right foot. Right at Joan Garcia. Again, reasserting their control again, Newcastle. Starting to use their control. Have a few opportunities and swipes at the Barcelona goal. If I was Hansi Flick, I would be looking to my bench going, who can come off the bench to change this game? They need something. Barca look a little bit legless out there, and they've given it away cheaply again, and the space given up here. Elanga couldn't dig out the cross again. Well blocked that time by Cancelo. Oh, that was lovely by Fermin. Got the man advantage here, Barcelona, if they can make it count. 4v3. Rafinha. Now 4v4. Yamal and Fermin, and they made an absolute mess of it. I mean, trying to be too cute there, Barca, and all came crumbling down. Oh, again, decent cross. Elanga trying to throw himself to get there. Will be a corner. Bit more open now. That's what we like to see. See it here, Hall with the early cross this time, overhit towards Asula, but Elanga's round the back. And Cancelo has to make the touch to get it away from Anthony Elanga, who was breaking through there. He would have got something on the end of that. And João Cancelo got there first behind for the corner. Well, this is where Newcastle have to take the advantage. Haven't been able to do so all night so far. This is where it needs to happen. Trippier fizzes that ball back post, up and away by Gerard Martin, and Pedri trying to do a bit of shielding against Malik Chow, and Chow ultimately had the last touch there, behind for a goal kick. Another goal in Madrid. Oh, great save by the Madrid goalkeeper there. It's another goal, and Atletico Madrid on the counter-attack have added a fifth to their tally tonight. It's now a 4-goal lead again, and Spurs with a big chance at one end are caught out on the counter-attack, and they have restored their 4-goal lead. Atletico Madrid 5, Tottenham Hotspur 1. Julian Alvarez with his second of the night gets Atleti's fifth, and they are running riot in the Spanish capital. Just 10 minutes gone of the second half, and they lead by 4 goals again. Here comes Barcelona. Rafinha down the left, clean shot at Lamine Yamal, who's edge of the area. Again, well beaten to it, but he will have a ball to chase to. Yamal against Hall. Yamal whips the cross in. Burn with the header. Oh, it's a little awkward, and Ramsdale has to make sure it goes over the top. Corner it will be. The first corner for Barca the second half. Yeah, Burns' header, it's a little bit awkward, it just drops, and Lewandowski trying to make a nuisance. Ramsdale got the punch there ahead of Robert Lewandowski. Corner it will be though to Barcelona. Game's opened up, livened up a little bit, and really at this point, don't know who that benefits more. Left-footed delivery from the corner, that one's a little better, but Ronald Araujo's header is wide. Better delivery. This time Araujo at the front post. Just guiding it down. Oh, lovely from Elanga. Drags in the full-back and breaks away from him. Lots of Barca shirts in cover though, as Pedri helps out his full-back and Cancelo to win it back. But Anthony Elanga have to say, real danger. Oh, Pedri's in on the little fakes. Cancelo. Trippier got the last touch. Barca through. Here is Gerard Martin. To Cancelo, sorry. Firing that ball forward. Lewandowski gets in a real tussle with Dan Burn. Referee said it was fair between the two. And the ball drops into the path of Malik Chow. Hall. Both sides not pulled the trigger on substitutes just yet. Game's livened up a little bit. More tempo in the game in the last few minutes. I think maybe both coaching staffs want to see how the game pans out from this position, whether the players can react to that change of tempo. Give one of the two teams the lead. Chow. Lovely fired ball into Asula, who holds it up well. Not many forward options. Help him out as he goes back to Tonali. Feeds it wide to Trippier. Has to come short to Alanga. Then back to Malik Chow again. Burn. Hold down the line, looking for the run of Barnes. John Garcia gets there first. He was offside anyway. Harvey Barnes. So a free kick to Barca will come. Well, deep conversations between the Barca, or the Newcastle coaching staff. Lewandowski goes down again against Byrne, wanted a foul. Told to get up by the referee there, Robert Lewandowski. Down a little easily, in the referee's opinion. Byrne. Ramsdale. To Dan Byrne. Trippier. A little bit loose as he fired it into midfield. Barca trying to take advantage, but again another heavy touch. Heavy pass that breaks it apart. And Newcastle breaking down the left hand side. Can they make something of this? Cross comes in. Cleared away by Barcelona. Still not away yet though. There's a shot from Tonali. Takes a little deflection and up into the hands of the Barcelona goalkeeper, Joan Garcia. Yeah, again, they broke down the left-hand side again. Newcastle, early cross from Hall. Drop for Ramsey, he couldn't take touch onto it. Tonali kept it alive. Joe Linton worked it back to Tonali. And then the shot took a deflection that took all the sting off it. Lovely touch by Rafinha here. He's got Lewandowski in the middle. Best chance for Barcelona. And Lewandowski knocks it wide. Beautiful first touch by Rafinha. See it here. Cancelo measures one down the left-hand side. Rafinha takes it down beautifully. And then squares it across for Lewandowski. Throws himself at it with the right foot. And just struck it well wide. No, not well wide, just a little wide. But the best chance of the second half for Barcelona. And that's going to trigger some movement from the Newcastle bench. Triple change incoming. Well, similarly to this stage of the previous game these two played, Anthony Alanga, Kieran Trippier, Will Asula all coming off. Two of the most influential players, you got to say there. Jacob Murphy, Tino Livramento, and Anthony Gordon all coming on. So it looks like maybe Gordon might play as a false nine. I would suspect. He's the one that's playing more centrally. Gordon. Linton comes back to help the midfield to take control for Newcastle. Murphy. Absolutely hacked there by Cancelo. That's going to be a yellow card. No question about that. Beautiful touch, but João Cancelo diving in and completely cleans out his man. Free kick to Newcastle. Another goal, by the way, in Bergamo. I said they were one step away from this tie being over. Well, I'd say the tie's over. It is Atalanta 0, Bayern Munich 5, and that is surely daylight done in that one. Michael Olise with the second goal of the night, and he's having a night of it, as Michael Olise, 2 goals and an assist. Bayern Munich 5 to the good against Atalanta. I think we can put them in the hat for the quarterfinals, I would have to say. Barnes, Hall down the left, trying to find Gordon, who'd gone wide there. And it's going to be a throw in, taken quickly, no time to wait around here for Newcastle. Hall's delivery, drops for Murphy, who struck it over the crossbar. Again, great build-up play by Newcastle, just not able to convert it at the minute. Great from Hall, beautiful delivery. Murphy, the one to take it first time, maybe just ahead of it. That's what he has to stretch back for it and scoop it up, and that's what carries it over the crossbar. Well, Newcastle made changes. Barca are going to follow suit. Pedri's going to be coming off here, as well as, well, nice if they told me, they cut away from it. So Pedri's coming off, as is Robert Lewandowski. Interesting. Marcus Rashford, by the way, is one of those coming on. The other is going to be Dani Olmo. So Olmo and Rashford on, replacing Robert Lewandowski and Pedri. Interesting. Maybe Fermin might drop a little deeper. Olmo playing the 10. Could be a possibility, or Olmo could play in a fluid midfield 3. 6th goal in Bergamo, so that's more than over now. It's getting embarrassing for Atalanta. It's Bayern Munich 6. João Musiala getting in on the action. 6-0 to Bayern Munich. Running riot there in Italy. So far, with 20 to go here at St James's Park, it's still goalless between Newcastle and Barcelona. Barcelona have lacked real offensive fluidity tonight. Newcastle have had all the fluidity in the build-up and haven't had the finish to go with it. As Lamine Yamal was brought down there by Joe Linton. According to the referee, it looked a little soft to me, but free kick was given. There's definitely a lower threshold in the Champions League to set free kicks and yellow cards than there is in the Premier League, because half of the things we're seeing just get played on in the Premier League. I mean, it's not often we see a lot of this happen domestically. Bit of an adjustment for the English teams. And Cancelo just about hangs on to the ball there, finds Dani Olmo. Maybe that mobile offensive player that Barca need between the lines. Here's Bernal. Olmo. Yamal. A little bit quicker, a little bit sharper from Barca, that. Kubarsi brings one down the right. That's too high. And there's got a player going down here. And it's going to be Fermin, is it? I think he has pulled his hamstring. That's what it looks like. Is it Bernal? It is. It's Marc Bernal. Yeah, it looked like when Pau Kubarsi played that ball, even when he was chasing the ball there, Bernal, it looked like just pulled up. And that's a clear sign of usually a hamstring injury. Right. Well, elsewhere, these two other games that were being played tonight are very one-sided. Atletico Madrid 5-1 up against Spurs in Madrid, and Bayern Munich 6-0 up against Atalanta in Bergamo. So very one-sided ties in those games, but couldn't be more even here between these two in terms of the scoreline. Goalless as it stands. Bernal, after receiving some treatment, goes to the sideline. And they are going to make that change, as expected, I would say there. And one mark replaces the other. Marc Bernal replaced by Marc Casado. And that's Barca's third substitution. Ramsdale. Ciao, a little heavy. Livramento. A little pull back there, not given against Ramsey, as that's not going to be a free kick either, as they wanted a foul there, Barca. Both sides being told to play on. Tonali, Livramento measuring one for Gordon in behind. Anthony Gordon cuts it back across. Murphy lays it off here to Barnes. Barnes with a shot off the post, and the follow-up is bundled in. But the flag's going to go up against Joe Linton. Oh. Barnes hits the post. It rebounds back, and Joe Linton in an offside position. See it here. Oh. Yeah, Gordon's onside. There's no doubt about that. Cut back to Murphy. Murphy to Barnes. And Barnes' shot, I mean, he's quite a few yards offside there, Joe Linton. Shot bangs off the post and then followed up and in, but flag is up. And rightfully so. Well, pretty quickly this place turned from bouncing to stood still. And I'm thinking they were one up to glancing towards the assistant who had his flag in the air. But I have to say, at this stage, I think Newcastle do deserve to win this. Been by far the better team, and Barcelona have really disappointed me. Albeit they will be very happy to take a level game back to Spain with them next week. But at the moment, do they deserve to? I mean, that's not the measure of things. Whether you deserve to or not is irrelevant, but you have to find a way, whatever way you can, and Barca really haven't had much attacking quality all all evening, and if they can scrape something out of this, a draw wouldn't be too bad of a result for Barca. Less than 15 to go. Newcastle 0, Barcelona 0. Joan Garcia, a long kick. Headed away by Malik Chow. Hall with the second ball, brings it down under the press of Lamine Yamal. He makes it look easy there, Lewis Hall. Another fabulous performance from him tonight as the referee plays advantage as Hall was fouled. Continues with Barnes, now Joe Linton. Couldn't find a way through in the box, and that comes away, but oh, little sloppy there from Tonali. Just about dealt with it. Ramsey, Livramento, and Murphy. Gordon, first time ball, was Livramento offside? Yeah, the flag was up. I have to say credit to Lewis Hall though, has absolutely scuppered Lamine Yamal all evening. Not had a sniff. Incredible. Of course, there's still time remaining, but only takes one moment. But so far tonight, Lewis Hall's defending has been absolutely impeccable, and I think as the whole Newcastle defence has been. Ramsdale, who still to this point has only faced one shot on target from Barcelona. Wrestling match there between Marcus Rashford and Malik Chow, and Rashford felt he was fouled. Referee didn't agree. Now Marcus Rashford onto the field tonight. Of course, he scored, was the difference maker for Barcelona the last time these two met. He's on a bit of a drought himself, without a goal in his last 5 games for Barcelona, for his last 6 games, apologies, for Barcelona, since their 3-1 win over Elche back in late January. Well, here come Newcastle on the break. Here's Harvey Barnes into the box. He comes, edging up for the shot, was blocked, and then calls of a penalty. Ronald Araujo tripping over Barnes. Referee says play on. Joe Linton, Hall on the overlap, swings one in, and that is hooked away by Gerard Martin for the corner. Coming alive again, Barcelona, or Newcastle against Barcelona. Barcelona are having a lot to deal with here tonight. Newcastle are throwing everything they've got at them. Is everything enough to find a goal? Corner is ready to be taken. Right-footed delivery from the left side. Whipped in. Headed away by Araujo. Kept alive by Hall. Joe Linton chests it down. Feeds it wide. Tonali skips past his man. Tonali, low cross. Follow up by Chow. Over the top. All over them here, Newcastle. All over them. Barca are very lucky that they are not behind, because Newcastle have had more than ample opportunity to do so and find that lead, find that goal. Another corner will be Lewis Hall from the right hand side this time. Left footed, whipped in, thrown away by Joan Garcia, who got both hands to that. Just over 10 minutes to go. Ramsdale with a long kick. Gerard Martin with a confident header, brought down by Rashford. Returned to the number 18, Martin. Now Cancelo. Dani Olmo. To Pau Cubarsí. Olmo. Cubarsí. Gerard Martin. Nice ball to find Rafinha in the half space, and he feeds it forward. Rashford's broke away. Rashford's cross was well overhit. Lamine Yamal will be quick enough to keep it in play, though. Rashford absolutely rifled that one across. Better from Barcelona. Here's Gerard Martin. Olmo. Cubarsí to Araujo. Cubarsí back to Gerard Martin. Cancelo. Down the line it goes. Rashford trying to hold it up for Olmo. Back to Rashford. Down the left touchline. Rashford playing nicely. Finds Cancelo. Araujo comes a bit narrower. Lays it out wide to Lamine Yamal. A little bit better from Barcelona. Pushing a little bit further into Newcastle's half. 4-5-1 out of possession, Newcastle. Trying to make it really difficult through the middle for Barcelona to progress the ball. Done a great job of that all night, really. Olmo trying to carve something open. Araujo. Again, they have to be forced backwards. All the way back to their goalkeeper. I mean, no room, no way through for Barcelona there. Another goal, by the way, in Madrid. Who knows? This crazy tie may not just be over. Spurs have got another. It is 5-2. I mean, that's a long way away from being clawed back by Spurs, but you got to start somewhere. And Dominic Solanke, this time Pedro Porro with the assist, as he scored the first for Spurs, and Solanke with the second. It is Atletico Madrid 5, Tottenham Hotspur 2, in what has been a crazy game over in Madrid. Full of goals. Throw in here to Barcelona. Araujo to take this throw in. Barca taking their time. Oh, looking to keep it alive there. Araujo with a bounce right on the sideline to keep it in play. Martin brings it down. Reversed by Rafinha, finds Rashford in space. They're away here. Rashford trying to dig out the shot. Well, stopped by brought down again, not away by Newcastle. It's going to be a free kick though. Whoa. Firmine was the one that was down in there. See it here, lovely ball by Rafinha, finds Rashford down the left, working the angle, then gets the shot, blocked by Ramsey, and then push on Dan Burn by Fermín Lopez as he brought it down in the middle. Thought Newcastle had it under control. Ultimately a foul on Dan Burn as it gets them out of trouble there. Joe Willock is going to be coming on for Newcastle very shortly. Well, I said Barcelona don't draw many games. Either win or lose them. What will come of this? Rashford. Early cross, this time is deep, and Araujo made the run. And Araujo couldn't keep it in play. Look at that. Ronald Araujo. I just spotted that before we saw the replay. He stayed down and kind of shuffled himself back onto the field. Well, the referees told him to get off the pitch again. I mean, he just shuffles his way back onto the pitch. The art of time wasted. Well, he now has to stay off the pitch, I think. And the referee does wave him back on. Ciao, lovely ball. Finds it down the right to Livramento. Got Murphy for help, but cuts inside himself. Tino Livramento has to go back the way. Tonali out wide again to Murphy. Murphy, nice little 1-2 with Ramsey. Murphy across, back post. Oh! It's gone in. Harvey Barnes is what gives lift off to Newcastle United. He's the one that's had all the chances, and he's the one that gives Newcastle the opening goal in this tie. Great cross from the right. Barnes breaks off his man at the back post and is there to force it over the line. Keeper couldn't do nothing. It already crossed the line when he got his hands to it. And Harvey Barnes might just be the hero for Newcastle. They haven't had much cutting edge all night, Newcastle. It's the finish that had been missing. But look at this. Recycled by Tonali. Murphy picks it up. Little 1-2 between him and Ramsey. And Murphy's ball scintillating back post. And Harvey Barnes is there. I mean, as free as you like. Sweeps it with his right foot. Keeper tries to keep it out, but couldn't do anything about it. Newcastle United 1, Barcelona 0. Huge. Although, and I say although because VAR might be spoiling the party in the northeast. They might get a second chance to celebrate here if this stands. Decision is goal. Will stand. And Harvey Barnes is the difference maker. They were checking for a possible offside, but no point was there an offside there. Incredible for Newcastle. But probably deserved, I'd have to say. And Ferran Torres is going to be coming on here for Barcelona. Actually going to be a double substitution, I think. Yeah, it is going to be. So Ferran Torres on to replace Fermin Lopez, and Ronald Araujo has also been replaced. And I believe there's a debutant coming on for Barcelona. I'll tell you about that in a second. It's now they need to fight to try and find a leveller of their own and a goal of their own to level this game. They've been lacklustre all night, Barcelona, and probably deserved to lose this game. Newcastle have been much the better team. And can that Harvey Barnes goal give Newcastle something to take to Spain with them next week? A lead. And all that was the difference all night. They've been whipping crosses in galore all night, Newcastle, and all that was lacking was the finish. Someone to put it in the net. Murphy's cross, equally as good as all the crosses have been all night, but the difference was Harvey Barnes this time was there to finish. Oh, it's a lot of slipping and sliding there from Ferran Torres. He's dispossessed, and as he tries to win it back, bundles over his opposite number, Joe Linton. Free kick to Newcastle. By the way, the debutant, by the way, for Barcelona is Xavi Espart, 18 years old, and off the bench to play right back for Barcelona. It's now going to be 3 defeats in the last 4 away games for Barcelona. They're only winning that run coming away at Athletic Club by the sole goal. Before that run, though, they'd lost just once in 9 away from home, winning the other 8. So a downturn in away form for the visitors. For a Newcastle team who've only won 2 of their last 6 home games, 4 of those ending in defeat. They are getting a much deserved home victory, it seems. 2 of the last 3 home wins have actually come in the Champions League, Newcastle. They might push for another here. Anthony Gordon spinning him away into trouble. Still not away as the Espart gets something to this. 4 additional minutes. We've played just short of 1. And the clearance, the shot from range from Livramento's a little bit hopeful. Rashford beaten to it by the backtracking Anthony Gordon, who does incredibly there. Well, Kieran Trippier being the voice from the sideline there for Newcastle. Well, if the noise was loud when the goal went in, I'm sure it will be matched, if not bettered, when the final whistle goes, if it stays as it is. Tonali takes the free kick. Flicked on at the edge of the box. Cleared away by Rashford. Joe Linton with a little swipe. Rashford will be there to take it down for Barcelona. Cancelo trying to find the Englishman again, but cut out well by the Barcelona or the Newcastle defence. Incredible. Byrne, a little bit loose, but Livermento's there to help, and lovely little 1-2 between Gordon and Ramsey, and Knight away down the left. Here they come again, Newcastle. Oh, challenge there was clean. Nicely done by Espart. Murphy trying to keep it alive for Newcastle, but stolen away from him, and now Rashford wants to try and find Rafinha on the breakaway. Rafinha does enough there, albeit not helped out. Ferran Torres, a lot of wrestling going on. Still about a minute of the 4 to go. That's going to be a pullback, and that's going to be a yellow card and a free kick to Barcelona. Yep. Joe Willock there taking one for the team. Lamine Yamal brought down. And less than a minute to go until Newcastle can get themselves over the line. Look at the celebrations from those fans. They believe they're within touching distance of a famous victory. Free kick whipped in by Rashford, headed away well by Chow. Brought down by Olmo, who slipped as he played the cross, and it's dropped for Tonali. Finds Anthony Gordon. If they can just hold on to the ball now, Newcastle should be done and dusted, but Gordon's ball is well overhit towards Tonali. Need to move it quickly now, Barca. Time is of the essence. And they're not in a hurry. I think they need to be hurried a little bit here. Lamine Yamal is looking frustrated on that right flank. His teammates are very slow. Trying to get this ball forward. Will it pay dividends? Cancelo leaving a couple for dead here. And Rafinha plays it directly through. Dani Olmo trying to jig for space, and it's going to be a penalty. Dani Olmo goes down. Says he was fouled by Malik Chow. Referee agrees. Penalty to Barcelona. And you can feel the energy zapped out of this stadium. And that is... See it here. Yeah, it's a loose leg. Malik Chow. What is he doing? It is so unnecessary. So naive. And that is what Barcelona were desperate for. And Newcastle, through Malik Chow, have given them a lifeline. Harvey Barnes watches in despair. But can Aaron Ramsdale save Newcastle's, well, their hopes, their chances, their probably deserved result? Or can Lamine Yamal do what he does so often for Barcelona, for this youngster? Rise them from the ruins and give them a golden goal on English soil that can take at least level pegging back to the new camp. He can! Lamine Yamal sends Aaron Ramsdale the wrong way, and the 18-year-old is going to take a leveller that is going to give heartbreak for the home crowd, major relief for the travelling Barca fans, and that is going to be the final whistle. And that is the definition of snatching it at the death. A penalty in one of the last actions of the game. Lamine Yamal cleanly puts it in. And you have to say, he has again pulled his team out of trouble. But Malik Chow will feel absolutely gutted. But it was a penalty. That's the one thing they can... I'm sure the referees will be very happy with. The result is changed on a mistake. The referee made the correct decision. Newcastle will argue, but they will have not a leg to stand on. It's definitely a penalty. And Lamine Yamal, as so often he is for Barcelona, the difference maker, this young sensation, has really stung Geordie hearts in the northeast. Eddie Howe's team thought they were on the verge of a famous victory, and they were, until they weren't. And when Lamine Yamal's late penalty stole it. Final score at St James's Park after a wonderful performance from Newcastle. It's a mistake of the death that robs them of a famous result. Final score, Newcastle 1, Barcelona 1. All square, heading back to the new camp in 8 days' time. And let's just recap everything that's happened tonight. It's not over in Madrid, by the way. They're a little bit delayed on us, but there's also a stoppage for an injury. But it is Atletico Madrid 5, Spurs 2, and it has concluded in Atalanta. A goal was scored late by Atalanta there. We couldn't get to tell you with all the late drama here at St James's Park, but Atalanta did claw back a goal. Pasalic with the late consolation, but albeit the damage is probably done. They finished 6-1 losers at home against Bayern Munich. So Galatasaray winners, as were Bayern, as it seems like Atletico will be, but Barcelona and Newcastle all level going into next week. Certainly the tie we will look forward to rewatching the second leg when it comes around next Wednesday evening. Speaking of Wednesday evening, that's all the action for you tomorrow, where we're going to see another double-header of Champions League football and two more English teams looking to come away with results, both on the road this time. Arsenal head to Leverkusen to take on Bayer Leverkusen at the Bayer Arena. That's a 5:45 kickoff tomorrow, followed by the European champions are the hosts of Chelsea. That's tomorrow at 8 o'clock, PSG against Chelsea. Both games on LFS, and really looking forward to those. But tonight, it has been English sides really upsetted in their respective ties. Liverpool beaten by Galatasaray in what was a torrid atmosphere and a pretty torrid performance from the English team there. Spurs being absolutely thumped by Atleti in Madrid, and Barcelona snatching a famous result from Newcastle with a late Lamine Yamal penalty. Not the night for English teams. Good night.